of White Point Gardens, Rainbow Row, Provost Dungeon, or Dock Street Theater? How about St. Michael's Church or the Cooper River Bridge? All of these are famous Carolina landmarks that play a significant role in the history of Charleston, South Carolina. In 1670, settlers arrived at the Ashley River and established a settlement which they named Charlestown. The following year, the colonists transferred themselves across the river and rebuilt at the tip of the peninsula between the Ashley and Cooper rivers. Charlestown's early development on this river basin led to immigration by diverse groups and lots of trade. The Charlestown harbor had a huge impact on the colony as it welcomed trade ships from both the Ashley and Cooper rivers. But long ago in colonial South Carolina, problems arose after numerous hurricanes, fires, diseases, and deaths spread throughout the colony. But the Low Country experienced more hardships than that, and they came from the sea. Pirates attacked ships as they sailed in and out of the historical Charlestown harbor. They stole rice, sugar, furs, and other treasures that were stored on Carolina ships, and the settlers of Charlestown did not like it. To their surprise, they captured one of the most famous pirates of them all, Stede Bonnet. Bonnet was a wealthy Englishman. He lived in Barbados, where he owned a large sugar plantation. One day, he decided to leave his comfortable life and become a pirate. No one knows for sure why this wealthy man wanted to become a pirate. Some people say he wanted to get away from the island, but others say he was just tired of living the life of a gentleman. So Bonnet hired himself a crew of men and bought a ship called the Revenge. Bonnet and his crew sailed to the colonies and stole ships and goods along the way. It did not take long before Bonnet and his men met up with another famous pirate, Edward Teach. Teach was more commonly known as Blackbeard because he had a bushy black beard that was braided and tied together with ribbons. But one day, in June of 1718, Bonnet and Blackbeard met near the Charleston harbor. Together, they plundered through ships in the harbor. They stole goods from 10 ships and kidnapped some of Carolina's settlers as prisoners. The daring pirates sent a note to leaders in Charlestown demanding goods and treasures in return for the prisoners. The pirates' demands were met, and Bonnet and Blackbeard sailed away. But the leaders of Charlestown were left furious and began a search for the pirates. They wanted the pirates to pay for their crimes. After a few months went by, Bonnet's ship returned to the harbor. Only this time, the people of Charlestown were prepared. On Friday, October 3rd, 1718, Bonnet's ship was surprised by an attack from the angry Charlestown leaders. The attack was led by the Carolina soldier Colonel William Rhett. A great battle took place, and Bonnet and his crew were captured. The pirates were taken to Charlestown and put on trial to pay for their crimes. The court decided to have Bonnet and his men hung before the town. The pirates were hung at a place just below the watermark known as White Point Gardens. Its name was originated from the millions of oyster shells that had washed up on the Carolina shore and been bleached white by the sun. During this time in history, it was considered a dishonor to be buried below the tide, so of course, that is where Colonel William Rhett ordered for the pirates to be buried. Today, this historical landmark on Charleston's coast is known as Battery Park. The pirates' bodies are still buried beneath the famous park, but what happened to all of their goods and treasures? Could they have left them behind? Meet Chris Martin and his brother Mike. Chris and Mike live in Greenville, South Carolina, and are anxious to take a vacation. Their mother gets a call from a friend in Charleston, South Carolina, inviting the family to visit over the summer. So Chris, Mike, and Ms. Martin pack their bags and travel 4 hours towards the coast of South Carolina. While their mother helps to run a summer camp at Dock Street Theater, Chris and Mike meet up with their friend Nicole. Nicole takes the boys on a tour around the theater. On the second floor, they arrive to a suspicious closet at the end of the hall. Nicole tells the boys that it is just an old prop room that is not used anymore. But the boys demand Nicole to tell them why and tell them more about the prop room. She nonchalantly tells the brothers of the rumor that the prop room has been haunted and untouched for many years. As Nicole continues to lead the brothers on more tours throughout the historic town, all Chris can think about is that if the closet is really haunted or not. Following his mischievous instincts, Chris sneaks off from the tour and shamelessly investigates the so-called haunted prop room. At first, all he sees is old costumes, props, and backdrops, but then a rusty box catches his attention. He blows away the dust, pops open the box, and there it lies. It was a letter, and it read, "My dearest, in spite of my letter of supplication to the governor, I feel my stay of execution may not be granted. It is with this sad revelation in mind that I send by the bearer of this letter instructions to the fortune that was to be yours. Let the time you wait to retrieve it be as patient as your love for me." And it was signed S.B. Chris knows he cannot keep this discovery a secret. So Chris, Mike, and Nicole journey through the streets of Charleston, searching in the Dock Street Theater, down Rainbow Row, through the Provost Dungeon, the Cooper River Bridge, and Battery Park for clues to uncover the mystery of the pirate's treasure. Read the book Mystery of the Pirate's Treasure by Idella Body to join Chris, Mike, and Nicole as they search for clues and learn more about Stede Bonnet and the treasure that he may or may not have left behind.